Working yourself into exhaustion is where your greatness lies. Probably should have brought the mic so I'm not having to scream right now, but fuck it. I kind of needed to let this one out. I've been working out twice a day, very hard, for probably the last month and a half, 2 months. I don't take days off from the gym, so I added on top. So I go every single day. And my head was like, you know what? It's time to take it up a notch. I'm gonna tell you something. That second workout, although not nearly as intense, I work out a bit differently on that second workout day, is unlike anything. And then on top of that, how hard I am pushing in my real life outside of training. I have completely emptied the energy clip on a day-to-day basis. I'm not kidding. Once you've worked your body to a level of exhaustion, going up the stairs or having a conversation with someone, it's grueling. And people ask, why the hell are you working yourself so hard? Why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. It's so unnecessary. Why would you do it? You're doing just fine. Because intuition, my gut instinct, that by pushing myself as hard as I possibly can go, my biology breaks and something subsides. Every single time, it's like I get presented this new reservoir of energy and perspective. There is no way to transcend without intensity. And transcendence sounds sexy on paper. You know, like the idea of reaching your potential and breaking through all-time highs. It's the ugliest, the least glamorous process on the face of the earth. There is nothing less glamorous than doing this shit. Because everyone looks at you like an absolute psychopath. Everyone thinks you're weird. I'm going to tell you this right now. You guys talk about wanting to be different. You want to be a 1% man. I hear that all the time. I want to be a high-value male. Let me tell you something. You have to go to a place mentally where no one else is willing to go. And on top of that, as a result of becoming a 1% man, you aren't going to have that many people in your life. You're just not. I'm surrounded by love. But people that actually get it, no, you're not. They're going to be a very, very, very short supply of people. I don't care who you are. I want to see what your heart looks like. There's so many different parts of this, but this part of life for me, this is my mission. This is what drives me. I want to see how far I can take this thing. That's all I care to see. My body, my mind, all of it. There ain't anything on earth like that journey. And every time you go through it in your head, you'll hit this breaking point of, why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I pushing so hard towards my goal? The reason why I train as hard as I do is because everything else in my life falls into place. And it's not about just being a grinder. There's a huge difference in this. You are pushing towards a vision so hard with all of your might, pushing yourself to that truly exhausted state to where you're exhausted in your bones is where your greatness lies. Every single time I break through, I thank myself that I didn't tap. You want to know why it's incredible and easier than ever? Is because everybody is so terrified of going to that place. Everybody. I'm not gonna lie, it's lonely, it's dark, and you're the only one that can get yourself out. Legitimately, you're the only one that can get yourself out. But you know how much magic there is in that? You know you're good. You know you got this shit because you're like, I got me. And that is all I've ever needed. Almost look at it unbiasedly. You'll laugh at some of the shit that's going on in your life, and I swear to you, it's at the moment you are about to break is when a knockout blow comes. Every time. And you're like, dog, I'm so done with this. But you want to know how you know you're on the right path? You tell yourself, okay, let's say you tap. Let's say you tap. You give up. What else are you going to do? What else would you do? And every single time I tell myself this, and I shut the fuck up and I get right back on the saddle. There is literally nothing like it on God's green earth. And it's because you realize so much about yourself. There's so much self-discovery involved in the process of pushing so hard towards something. And the goal isn't a number. The goal isn't a this. Those are just microcosms. They're like little checkpoints you have to get to the bigger thing. But you just understand the mission is, I want to transcend. And the only way to transcend is by going to a place mentally where no one else is willing to go. That's why there's a huge difference between being the grinder type, and although the grind is necessary, you're grinding because you understand that this is required. As you want to continuously transcend, it's like a bell curve. You start your life in a very unconscious state. And then once you want to change, you have to go through a level of consciousness where, in my opinion, this is the most difficult part because you're pushing through the middle of the bell curve. And you have to be conscious about your actions. And I have to make sure that I do this or whatever. I do this and I do this. And that's why I tell you guys to do things from your heart, because even though you have to go through the conscious state, there is no shortcutting that process. If you're doing something from your heart and it's because you want to do it, it's your thing. It means that much to you, not your parents, not your brother, not some fucking Joe Schmo that doesn't matter. It means so much to you. It makes it a hell of a lot easier to push through that conscious portion, because guess what? Most people remain in that conscious state for the rest of their life, and they wonder why they're stuck in the middle and they're capped out. That's the paradox of it. You start unconscious. You have to go through periods of consciousness to become that person. You have to do things correctly in a very specific way. You're learning how to tinker. You're learning how to dial in your process. And then you have to go unconscious again to exit out and reach those levels of greatness. That is how it works. What do they say? The story ends where it all began. That's why you have to enter different modalities. That's why it gets so difficult, because you're having to constantly tinker. And people try to fix what's not broken. But what happens is eventually it's going to break. Then it's your job, like a fucking animal, to pounce on that. Constantly have to shift mind frames. And you become this, I'm telling you, you'll become this intuition monster where you understand you have to use different parts of your brain. Just because this worked on this situation doesn't mean it's going to work on the other. That's just how it works. That's why reaching levels of greatness is not as straightforward as people think it is. Being exhausted is where your greatness lies, and it's because your conscious brain goes to sleep and your unconscious mind is what starts to actually take its hands and put it on the wheel. That's actually why I decided to do this video in the cars, because this is exactly the same thing. I'm driving unconscious. I don't have to look at the roads at this point and decide, am I between the lines? I don't have to decide, oh, should I take a right turn here or go? You're unconscious. In the beginning, when you get in that car, you have to be conscious. You have to learn where to put your hands. Where am I comfortable? How do I do this? But the irony of it is, to then exit out of it and become the best possible driver, there has to become second nature. And that is exactly what this video is. This is where you're either this guy or you're not. And the problem is most people try to play into a character they're genuinely not. I am a highly obsessive human being. I have an addictive personality. I'm super intense. And when you're built this way, I am telling you, it means more to you than your well-being. The mission, your purpose, what you are here to accomplish while you're here on earth means so much more to you than your well-being. Are you healthy? Do you feel good? It's not even a factor in your brain. That's how much it means to you. And I think a lot of people think it's meant to be a healthy process. That's why you see a lot of biohackers. To touch the top of the mountain is not a healthy process. It's grueling. There is no biohacking your way there, because that's just not how it works. It's got to mean so much more to you than all of this stuff. You have this, and some people don't know how to waken this up, and I genuinely believe it could be genetic. It could be genetic. I really do believe that in my heart. But this is how I was built, and all I can do is lean on what I am. That's all I can do. I can only lean in on who I am, and to push as hard as I possibly can, to where I continuously break my biology over and over and over again, to where I am an absolute machine. I don't think. I simply move on gut instinct all the time. I don't plan. I don't do any of this shit. Because I know that he makes all of the best decisions. I've lived life in my brain. I've lived life there. I've lived the life path of living everything from competence and intellectualizing and making sure that every decision it's according to these rules and that everything's backed up by this. That ain't how life works. Let me tell you something. When you're reaching the pinnacles, when you want to touch the top of the mountain, none of it is done through logic. It's all emotional. I just lean heavy into my emotions, and I understand that every emotional state is an innate advantage. There is nothing that can happen to me that I believe is too bad for me to overcome, because I'm going to wake up tomorrow. It's going to be a brand new day, and that's that. And I have a brand new day. The past doesn't matter. Literally zero bearing on what the hell happens today. Even if I had the best day on earth yesterday, it doesn't make a goddamn difference. I woke up today and it is a brand new day. You know how beautiful that is? Another day above ground and I get to go out and make it happen. Some people look at that as how, like, well, then I should relax and I should enjoy myself. And that's where you know it's either meant for you or it's not. The moment you ask yourself and you break, and that's going to happen, you're going to mentally break often. If you tell yourself, well, what else would you do? And your answer isn't this within 0.4 seconds, you're doing the wrong thing. If you guys want more videos like this, I have no problem doing this. I actually enjoy talking to somebody else in the car. But let me know if you guys like this stuff. Subscribe. Let me know what you think. I can talk about more topics like this. I really do appreciate you guys being here more than anything. This is for the outliers of society. This is who I'm talking to. Double down on it. I'm always going to tell you that. You ain't got to be anything different than you're not. Don't let anyone tell you got to be something different. Regardless, anyways, guys, Uncle Rommy out. Peace.